Hi, this is Steve McCann from PhillyGayCalendar.com, and I'm here with the subject of the movie, I Stand Corrected. Welcome to Philadelphia.
My pleasure to be here. I'm from Philadelphia, so it's really kind of poetic to come back here and screen the film for my family, my friends, all these people I haven't seen in so long. It's wonderful.
Tell us about what this movie's about.
Oh, it's about me. I'm a musician of some repute, you know, and I've undergone a transformation. I've transitioned from one gender to the other, in the public's eyes at least, back in 2001. And when I did that, I was working with the Doc Severinsen Orchestra at the time, a fairly famous and well-known musician. And there's just been interest in my story because of that, because I transitioned on such a public stage. And there's been lots of coverage of my transition and also in my musical career before my transition. So to make a movie about how my transition has affected my musical career, I think is the real hook for this film. It's not your usual type of transgender documentary in that it's not about the surgery, it's not about the angst of the conundrum you go through when you realize you're born and the body is not matching the brain. But it's more about my professional life. And there's lots of narrative woven in about my personal life and there's a bit of narrative about my marriage and my surgery and my family's reaction and things. But it's really mostly about my profession and what I do and how well I do it. And there's lots of music in it, which is what I wanted right from the beginning. And I'm very indebted to Andrea Meyerson, the filmmaker, for really listening to what I wanted the film to portray. I know she made a film, and she is the filmmaker, and a brilliant one. And I'm so happy that I was included in so much of the process. Really, it makes this film have a lot more validity, I feel, as a transgender film, and it's going to stand the test of time because of that.
How did your fans react during your transition?
A lot were positive. I'm a jazz musician, and in the more mainstream jazz world, it's socially a very traditional-oriented group of people. It's hard to explain, but there's not a whole lot of open-mindedness for people who are different. There's a great quote in the film from Todd Barkin, who books the jazz at Dizzy's Club Coca-Cola in Lincoln Center, jazz at Lincoln Center in New York, is where the jazz is more like a don't ask, don't tell type community, you know. And for someone to be really open about their sexuality or their gender identity it's not very well accepted in the jazz world. But as he also says later in the film, I'm part of the growth process. So hopefully we will make people feel like it's not so important. It's how well you play that's important. You know, that's the whole point of everything.
Right.
It's what you do. It's something I always knew. I knew from my earliest childhood days. I knew I was in the wrong body. And I didn't know what the possibilities were back then. I grew up in the 50s. I'm a fairly old person. So I had to educate myself all along the way. It's been a process to figure it out. And once I reached a certain level musically, I don't want to give away the whole film, but telling my life story is what the film is. So I purposely presented myself as male a long time before I let the public know that I really wasn't male. I had to do that in order to have a career. It's just the way the times were. So it's been a long process to find out about myself, let alone educate other people about it. I'm drifting a little bit for you. I'm sorry, but it's a hard thing to talk about sometimes when you're young and in those days at least there were no support groups. There was no help out there. There was no way that I could be open about who I was with my parents even, because of what they were exposed to was a completely different type of education than we can get today. Like today, with the internet and with all the people being brave enough to come forward and say who they really are, there's so many resources out there for people. It's changed so much. And I think my film, it hasn't changed everywhere, and that's part of the point of the film, is that we're trying to just normalize it all, you know? And I think my film is wonderful in that it doesn't make it a sad story. It's not a sad story. It's a really happy ending, you know, because I feel great, you know. I'm authentic. For the first time in my life, I can just be me, and I don't have to worry about what people think. It's just me, and they seem to like it.
So where can people see this movie outside the film festivals?
So far, it's only playing film festivals. We only played, I think, QFest here in Philadelphia is our 6th festival, I believe, that we've played. We played at Outfest in Los Angeles last week, and we won audience awards so far to the festivals we played. So it's getting really great reception and lots of press. There's been lots of writing about this film, and I can only see it expanding and getting wider. You know, I really do feel that's where it's going. I don't really know what the future is because I am not the filmmaker. I'm not involved in the business, quote unquote, of the film. But I am the subject, so I will, speak highly about it. And what you really want to do, you want to hire me to hear my music. You want to come hear me play, please?
Do you have a website?
JenniferLeitham.com. Now, Leitham is hard to spell. So Jennifer with 2 N's. Leitham is Leitham. Jennifer at Leitham.com. And I'm on iTunes, Amazon, all your internet places you can buy music.
Great. We'll have to go look you up. Thank you very much for the interview.
Very much. I really appreciate it. And thank you, Philadelphia.